Hi, this is Beth Gay Freeman again, and we've got more about Monopoly helping World War II prisoners escape. It's quite interesting, I think. Watson said that in addition to the concealed compass, tools, and maps, real banknotes were hidden under the fake money. During the war, the Official Secrets Act prevented anybody from disclosing the plan, and Watson said his father was very concerned that the company would be targeted by the Germans if they were tipped off. It was very special and very secretive, he said, adding that he didn't learn about the company's role in the military helping them until years and years later. Waddington printed 6 different maps that corresponded with regions that surrounded 6 different German camps. Monopoly kits bound for a camp in Italy, for example, would include a map of Italy and Italian currency, lira. To make sure each set reached its destination, the Secret Service devised another code. Each game was pinpointed as to the map it would go to. Orbain said to innocuously tag each board game, a period was added after a different location on the board. A period after Mayfair, for example, meant that the game was intended for Norway, Sweden, and Germany. And after a period, Marylebone Station meant it was a game destined for Italy. It being a British version of the game, London streets replaced the Atlantic City streets used in the original American versions. While Mr. A may have been responsible for bringing the war to Waddington's door, experts credit another M19 officer, Christopher Clayton Hutton, with hatching the master plan to make silk maps. He put 2 and 2 together, Hall said, adding that Hutton was likely not alone in implementing the plan. He was the first who had this idea to get maps into camps concealed in board games. It looks innocent. That wouldn't arouse any suspicion whatsoever. It just looked like somebody being nice. Hall and others familiar with the Monopoly maps say not wanting to compromise the integrity of the Red Cross, the Secret Service created fake charity groups to smuggle the games into the German camps. Barbara Bond, Pro-Chancellor at the UK's University of Plymouth, who is writing a book on silk maps and Monopoly games, said that the Monopoly games were not the only things that were used. Decks of cards, the board game Snakes and Ladders, pencils, also concealed maps for prisoners. There was a whole industry going on. During the war, hundreds of thousands of silk maps were used to help prisoners escape. And she said it marked a change in the way the military viewed POWs. During the war, she said, if you were captured in battle, during World War I, if you were captured in battle, that was pretty much it. But after Winston Churchill and others shared their experiences as POWs, the perception of them changed. The POWs could still do a job, Bond said. Not only was it their duty to fight if they were captured, it was their duty to escape. The silk and rayon maps and the clever ways they were distributed reflected that new philosophy. Though silk maps from that era exist in libraries and homes and museums around the world, none of the original rigged Monopoly sets remain. After the war, everything was destroyed. But though the games themselves are gone, their legacy is still a source of pride for the makers of Monopoly, past and present. Since Charles Darrow created Monopoly in the 1930s, the game has had a rich and interesting story. The use of monopoly by the British government to sneak maps, money, and supplies to prisoners of war during World War II is a little known but important part of that history. We are always honored when this iconic game becomes an important part of the fabric of a family's or a country's, their history, or even their memories. In the 1970s, Watson had the chance to meet a few former POWs who had actually used Waddington's maps to escape from a prisoner camp at Colditz Castle near Leipzig, Germany. It was really exciting, he said, although it's impossible to know precisely how many prisoners escaped with the help of the hidden maps. Experts estimate that about 35 members of the British, Commonwealth, and U.S. forces who were taken prisoner during the war returned to the Allied lines before the end of the war. We reckon, he said, that about 10,000 men and women used the Monopoly map. You'll never look at Monopoly the same again. I know I won't. Thank you so much. Join us again, please. Thank you.